Surviving Reality contains explicit content full of snark and sarcasm that may not be suitable for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome to Surviving Reality. I don't have to do it the same every time. You know, I was about to say you're listening to Surviving Reality, and I thought you would bug out, so I didn't.
I'm listening to Surviving Reality?
Those of you out in the ether are listening to Surviving Reality.
Dear listener, we're breaking the fourth wall today.
We're back with another episode of Polyfamily, and I have to tell you, I've been chomping at the bit for another episode to come out.
Champing at the bit? Isn't it? Everybody says chomping, but it's not actually chomping.
Really?
Yeah, it's weird.
I feel like chomp makes more sense.
Yeah, but that's one of those, like, it's the general misconstrued
I don't
phrases.
care.
Okay.
I have been on pins and needles because this family is so fucked up that I need to see more. Inject it directly into my veins. This is the drama that TLC needs to be bringing us. I don't know why this was not on Sunday night while TLC took a break with Sister Wives. This is what we need. This is a Sunday night show. This is not bury it in the schedule to this Tuesday night at 10 p.m.
I would take this over the Baldwin show.
That's what I'm saying.
1,000%.
Nobody asked for that.
Nobody
we
wanted
want
that.
more of this.
Yes.
This is season 1, episode 2. Polly wants a baby.
You see what they did there? Getting creative with the with the show names.
Oh my God. I thought this was Aladdin. Is Polly Sean?
Is Polly Sean?
Polly. I get it now.
Oh my God. Polly, because it's a Poly family, Carly. You see what they did there?
I'm on a delay today. This should go great. When the quad brings home their 5th child, Quentin, Alysia tries to define her role as the non-biological mother. Family members attend a party to meet the new baby, but not everyone is supportive. Unexpected news regarding Quentin's paternity shocks the quad. How does Alysia not know she's the mother? She knows she's not the mother. This is going to be rough today.
What the fuck are you talking about?
We're not acknowledging that anyone is the biological parent of the babies.
Oh, at all. I think the mother is usually
Probably aware.
Pretty sure about the biological connection that they have. But I used to wonder that when I was younger. Why are they always doing paternity tests? Is there a need for maternity tests sometimes?
I feel like if they were really committed to this, they would have done IVF, and then they would have had an egg from Taya in Alysia.
Egg roulette.
And then they could have gone even crazier, and they could have had sperm from Tyler and Sean duel it out. Just inject both and see what happens. You know the egg selects the sperm?
I guess that makes sense, because it's not just sheer will that the sperm is able to get in.
Well, that's what they make you believe, that it's like the strongest one gets there.
Right.
That's not true.
Oh.
The egg selects the one that it would like.
So
Taya's eggs.
Your tutor history, too, it is the woman's fault, then, is what you're telling me right now.
Whoa.
Uh-oh.
No.
No?
By the way, I am very insulted that in the next episode, Tyler and Sean have a conversation about paternity in front of a painting of Queen Elizabeth I.
I guess we'll have to table that for next week.
A woman who was so disgusted by men that she chose not to ever become a mother so that she could hold on to power and not die in childbirth. But let's move into the birth in this episode. That's where we start.
Don't die in childbirth. Right, yes.
It's getting harder and harder to do. So Taya is getting induced because she had gestational diabetes, which is why this baby is nearing 10 pounds. I think he was 9 pounds, 2 ounces, so it's a bit of an exaggeration. He's 9 pounds. That's a lot.
That's why Sean thought he had a good case for paternity.
Macy is 13 pounds. 14 on a bad day, depending on how many cookies she's eaten.
The cookies, they add up. Would you be able to stuff her in? Well, no, that's like a whole 5 other pounds.
You want me to carry her?
That's what I'm saying. Like, stuff that in your belly and then walk around with that? No thanks.
Well, I guess good for you. You are not the person who has to be pregnant.
But I could try my best to breastfeed, if that'll help.
This is, of course, a Sister Wives adjacent production. So right off the bat, we're in the hospital. First worry, they're going to be biased towards plural families. They're not going to want to let all of the family members in the birth. A fear that never actualizes.
It wasn't even due to the prejudices that they're worried about. That wasn't the reason for the first one. The first one was because of COVID. And it seems like there are still mask mandates and things that are in effect at the time of filming.
For this? When did you
Yeah.
see someone wearing a mask?
When they were out walking around in the hallway of the hospital, everybody who was in the hallway and all of the employees on that floor all had masks on.
Oh.
So this might just be older
It
footage?
could depend on the hospital just because
Depends on
it
the
is the
hospital.
maternity floor. So maybe they're just extra cautious.
Yeah, being cautious.
Or if somebody has COVID.
Which could be why they're worried about, are we going to all be able to be in there? But again, it's not on the basis of, we're going to restrict you from doing this because you are a polyfamily. It's mostly around the medical concerns around a global pandemic.
A safety protocol, as Cody Brown would say. So things are a little awkward because Tyler and Sean still had that tiff about, what's her name? Rhea. That's the baby's name.
Not the baby. That's the child.
The older one. I don't know. The one who's in solitary confinement, who may still be stuck there.
Might be. Yeah, I don't know.
Will she get to meet her baby brother, or will she have to stay confined to her quarters until it's feeding time?
These are the mysteries.
So they're kind of just pretending everything's okay, but also not really because Sean is really shitty.
Oh, Sean is holding on to this. Yeah, he has all of the resentment. And then Tyler knows that it's something that needs to be addressed, but I don't really know how to bring it up, and I don't really want to bring it up. So I'm just not going to bring it up. And then hopefully we'll just be able to just gloss over it. Just breeze on past, never address it directly.
Things should get better, right?
Just kind of bulldoze right on past that and not address that. Let's just get distracted by other things in our lives that are going to overwhelm all of those other concerns. And then that way that fire just sort of snuffs itself out.
You're hoping the baby was going to be the wedge. Everyone would kind of forget. We got a newborn. We're busy. Don't really remember. I got amnesia. Don't recall anything that happened prior to Q's birth.
Perfect distraction. Yeah.
I was like, do we have to call the baby Q?
Why did they intentionally try to name this child Barbecue? Because everyone
What?
keeps referring to this child as BBQ.
Oh, God.
BBQ.
What?
BBQ. Barbecue.
Oh, because baby Q.
Baby Q.
Okay.
Barbecue.
I'm going to tell you, I didn't pick up on that. I thought the sip and see was a barbecue.
So you kept hearing them say barbecue, and you just thought that you assumed that they were talking about the baby shower.
Yeah, the Costco pinwheels are not enough for me. I thought there was something on the grill outside.
There wasn't. He will be severely disappointed. And then Carly would be standing in the kitchen being like, so where's that barbecue? And then they're like, he's right here. And they'd keep shoving the baby in your face. And you're like,
this is what I can't eat this. Can I?
This is the secondary reason why I'm here. I was here for the food, primarily.
Thought you smoked some turkey or there was some baby back ribs outside.
BBQ.
We do have some baby back ribs.
Baby back. I want my baby back.
Where are we? The C-section. So they end up having to take Taya in for a C-section. I think this was probably the part where I would check out. If I was Alysia, this is where I'm going to take one for the team. And if you tell me that we can't have everyone go in, I'll sit out.
Alysia was absolutely gung-ho on, I need to be there for this one because I missed the last one. So she needed to be there. If it was Carly, though, as soon as you start mentioning C-section, I think you're out. You're not going to want to go anymore.
Well, so part of the problem is, like, it's possible I could need a C-section. So I don't want to see the process.
Technically, no. If you're Alysia in this
Well,
case.
we didn't know that yet at this point in the episode.
But vasectomies have taken place.
Yeah, so this is the final baby in this family, unless they snip-snap.
Reverse.
Which I think is a real possibility.
I could see Sean going to get a vasectomy reversal in secret just to spite some people.
Do you think they went together? Because if I were them, they seem like they distrust each other so much that you'd have to have the doctor simultaneously do the procedures while you're like in the same room together, just so you know that he actually showed up at the appointment.
Same doctor on the same day, but please use different set of tools. Don't clean the same.
In
in between. I don't want a transfer of anything there.
As if they're not transferring a lot of fluids and bodily things back and forth within the quad. But a medical procedure is different.
Very different. Yeah, you have to scrub in for this.
Baby Q enters the world.
BBQ.
And they put Sean on the birth certificate because he is legally married to Taya. So automatically, he's the baby's legal father. Biological, big question mark. But legally, he's acknowledged as the father of this baby.
He's going to have legal claim on the baby the way that Ryan Anderson has legal claim on Gypsy's baby.
Except for the last name part, because that is a little different from Gypsy's story, because they're going to hyphenate the baby's last name, which is what they've done with the younger 3. But then that means that the older 2, they haven't gone back and changed their names.
So that doesn't really fit with the reasoning, because then they're saying the reason why we're hyphenating is so that we are one collective, cohesive family. Okay, but 2 of the kids don't have that. So doesn't that automatically put them on an out situation?
I'm concerned that the older 2 are going to have a lot of resentment towards this family structure for many, many reasons, and that could be one of them.
I'm getting the feeling that a lot of the things that are described, or the decisions that are reached, the conclusions that they make, are explained away to a lot of people as it's for the good of the whole family. But I think a lot of it plays to the insecurities of the adults in this family. That's where I'm having a problem.
I feel like a lot of the rules, I agree, are structured around making sure that they are emotionally regulating the adults and not necessarily for the betterment of the children and the family dynamic.
So that example, what we saw was when BBQ was home and it was the breastfeeding was starting in, and Taya was having some difficulty with breastfeeding, but she did want to stick with that. Then Alysia is giving us some backstory on their other 2 younger kids who were born around the same time.
I have no idea what their names are. It's something with a B.
A B?
Braxton and
Hicks.
And Hicks.
Yeah.
That's what we're going to call them. I can't be bothered to remember their names.
To protect their identities, they will be known as Braxton and Hicks.
Hicks
for
is
this
the one
episode.
with the face, right?
Which face?
Tyler's face.
Tyler's? Okay, that's the younger one then.
So Braxton is the one that is Alicia's.
Sean.
Because they somehow magically ended up with the 2 toddlers. Each of them had gotten pregnant. So one's bio mom is Alysia, the other's bio mom is Taya.
Alysia didn't really get to bond with Taya's bio baby on the last round because she had her own toddler that she was dealing with at that time. So she missed out on feeling that connection. So she's really hoping to focus in here with BBQ to dial that in so she gets all of the good feelings from this baby instead, that they really solidify their connection.
Okay, so you're taking it a different way than I am, because I think that she has determined, because it's very obvious if you look at the 2 younger kids, that Hicks is Tyler's baby, and she wants to have some type of connection to that kid. And she doesn't. She wasn't really able to bond with the baby. Now, I think there's a whole nother thing to be said about her comment that each of those kids is a little bit more attached to their birth mother than the other. Yeah, I think that's going to happen because you carried the baby for 9 months, and there is a certain primal biological element to the child acknowledging which one of you is their biological mother.
So she wants this kid to love her more than Taya.
At least equally.
At least equally, but in her mind, best case scenario would be overcome their biological disconnect and surpass the love of the biological mother. That would be best case scenario in Alicia's mind.
But again, doesn't it feel like that is her own issue that she's bringing into it, that emotionally she's upset that that child she doesn't feel is bonded enough to her? So now she wants to do something different with this next baby?
It feels like an overcompensation for an insecurity.
Yes, I agree.
And then it becomes competitive because now you're comparing your bond with this child versus Taya's bond with that child, which doesn't really seem like it should be happening in a healthy relationship dynamic. The comparison points, I mean. Comparison is the thief of joy.
I'm really glad that they were pregnant and had a baby during this because it's really exposing a lot. This is just one element. So now we know there's something going on with Alysia.
Maybe it's in her water bottle because I am still upset about this fucking water bottle.
I know, you're really perturbed. She brings it everywhere.
She carries it around. Okay, when they were at the baby clothes store, It was her and Tyler. They were shopping around, and she had this huge gallon jug of water with all these stickers all over it. And it triggered in my mind everything that I was upset about that I didn't get to pop off on from episode 1. Because she had that thing when they went grocery shopping, when she was out with Sean, and they were bickering the whole time at the grocery store. She threw that thing, that jug of water, right in the poopy diaper seat of the grocery cart. Didn't wipe it down, just set that thing right in there. And then later on in episode 1, when she's talking with Tyler in their bedroom, I could see it on the nightstand next to her bed. Do you think she's wiping this thing down in between?
No, and it's been everywhere. It was in the hospital too, I'm sure.
Hospital. She was sleeping on the floor of the hospital. She has no qualms with any of this stuff. I'm losing my mind watching Alysia navigate the world.
Maybe we need to keep her away from the baby then, because she's touching this water bottle. We definitely need to be hand sanitizing.
Strongly recommend a couple of doses of hand sanitizer in between touching the water bottle and touching the newborn infant. But she wants to help, and she wants to overbond with this kid and beat them.
She wants to bond, period, in some way.
She wants not beat them. She wants to beat them to the punch, as far as beat them to the breast of the connection that would happen. She wants this kid to latch with her.
She wants to wet nurse.
And Sean thinks that's weird.
Look,
Tyler thinks it's weird too.
Sean is really making an enemy of me. And I understand that this is kind of odd, but also your relationship isn't exactly the norm that most people have experienced. So your wife is having trouble producing enough milk to the point that the baby may not be healthy. And you have your your partner, so your girlfriend, who is interested in helping. And you're going to act like that is the absolute strangest thing that you have ever heard.
Well, to say that it's weird, it's not weird in a biological sense. There's no medical issue with that. It's not like doing blood transfusions or something where there's a very specific rule set that you have to follow with that.
Well, there is a lot in breast milk that, before you get us, by the way, guys, please do not leave us reviews or comments that give us the in-depth history of breastfeeding.
All right. Well, I'll be the first one to tell you we're not a medical podcast and I don't know shit about breastfeeding, but I'm just saying, like, wet nursing isn't like this frowned upon thing, unheard of dynamic that's never taken place.
It's never happened ever in the history of human beings.
It doesn't seem that odd. And especially if you want to have this person be a mother to this child as well.
He's kind of acting like a rando just offered to breastfeed the baby.
You're in a closed quad. That's the kid's other mom. So
that's one element of it. But the thing that really turned me off was I felt like he didn't want her to breastfeed for his own selfish reasons, because he's trying to talk her out of it. He's like, you really want to wake up every 2 hours or whatever it's going to be, depending on how large the baby is.
How large the breasts get.
He's already...
She's engorged.
He's already 9 pounds, so, he's only going to get bigger.
Well, and then if she's going to be milking the way that he keeps gesturing with his hands, too, I mean, it's going to take a while to clear those, I think. He was trying to milk them like udders.
I fucking lost my train of thought.
You're welcome. It's just this motion.
So this is my opinion. I think he doesn't want her to do that because when he spends the night with Alysia, when it's their night together, he has a peaceful night's sleep. He doesn't want her getting up every couple of hours to breastfeed. He doesn't want these boobies out of commission like Taya's are. He doesn't want to help massage the udders.
Are they out of commission?
I know you...
This is going to turn into a whole other thing now.
This turns into a conversation of men being appalled once they realize that breasts have an actual physical purpose and not just a sexual one. Let's move on.
You saw the wheels turning?
I saw the wheels turning.
I'm going to start asking questions that are going to get us in trouble.
Alicia's dealing with her stuff. And then we've got Tyler looking at the baby and he's thinking, this baby, there are signs. There are signs this baby appears to be mine. Got dimples, looks like hicks.
Got a cow lick.
Some things that are actually genetic.
And see, if Sean were comfortable with this setup, I think he would have been able to make a self-deprecating joke that he also has a cow lick, but he's bald, so you
just can't tell it's
can't
there.
tell. I have one too, so that doesn't eliminate it. I've got dimples too, but they're on my ass. See?
You can't rule me out.
Yeah, it's just ways to joke back, subtle barbs and jabs that he would be able to get in here.
I wasn't sure what to think about Tyler in this whole episode because I kind of felt like he was acting dumber than he is. I do think he's already determined that this is his baby, just purely from looks. And everyone else kind of knows it too.
He's on the Maury theory, and the more that he points out, then people are falling in line with, yeah, I tend to agree with you. I can't disagree. But it's got to be a sure thing. And Tyler makes sure to prove to us that it is a sure thing by sharing out the medical records of this child via the family group text.
Okay, so it sounds like what happened was they had a wellness visit for the baby, and he's providing all of the vitals that they give you as part of that appointment. But one of the things that they included was the baby's blood type. And he does make sure to pass that along as well.
I think it was a photo of results.
Yeah, it's like
so
who's going to take the time to...
Yeah, he's not going to type he's not going to transpose all of the medical records here for billing and coding purposes. But he just took a picture of it, sent that out to the family group chat, and then Sean starts doing some detective work. So is this on Sean or is this on Tyler? Because Tyler sent it, but it didn't seem like he really realized what was even included as all of that. And then Sean was talking about things that he Googled that informed him that two parents with blood type B cannot have a child with O negative blood type when Tyler is O negative, and clearly that means that he's the father.
So that's kind of your own fault, right? Because you went out of your way to determine that the answer was no, you cannot be the father. You were given a little piece of information and you did the rest to connect the dots.
That's what I'm saying. So like if Tyler did it intentionally, I feel like it's on Tyler to an extent because he would know that Sean would see that and he would have to look into it. Sean just seeing that and then going out of his way to investigate it further to then determine conclusively that, yes, that's the result, that's on Sean.
This is why I think the entire premise that we're not going to find out the biology of the babies, I think that doesn't make any sense. It's idiotic. One of the reasons why is stuff like this. There's other indicators besides just getting a DNA test who the father of the baby may be. And if you two know, why do you know each other's blood types? That's kind of weird.
Do we know each other's blood types?
I don't think so. Guess.
I think you're B something.
Nope. I only get straight A's, baby.
Oh, okay. And then I think I'm an O negative because I'm the...
Maybe you're the father.
Yeah, maybe. It could have slipped in. Who knows?
Yeah, we should see if we have like that toxic combination where...
Or no, I'm O positive because
you don't
I'm
even
the
know.
one... No, because that's the most common, but then it's also the one that's the most restrictive as far as what it can receive in terms of blood donation.
So are they that on top of their medical concerns that they've made sure they know all of each other's blood types in case of an emergency, but they don't want to find out the biology of the kids, even if it means that there's implications for their medical features?
Well, Sean's a little bit further on in his stages of life, so I think he just needed to make sure who he could get a kidney from if need be. That way he knows he has a short list. Yeah, he just has that ready and it's available and it's at his disposal as needed. I would argue too, then maybe they should take a paternity test for the children that they don't know for sure at this point to then say, we don't open these, we don't look at this unless we need to.
You get one of those Maury envelopes.
Yeah, and then it's
and you
sealed.
Tape that baby up. Sean would be in there with a hair dryer, heating that tape up, getting the glue off.
Holding it up to a light so he could try and see through it. Any way that he could kind of get a glance at it. But just there are medical circumstances where you need to know pretty quickly in an emergency some of these.
So this is your backup
dynamics.
plan would be to have the envelope ready.
Would be, yeah. So then that way you have the answer in case of emergency if you need it.
How about you just go to therapy and work through your own shit so that you're not jealous and don't have resentment and issues because the baby is not yours?
That's too much work. I'm not going to do that, if we're being honest.
Because that's kind of the problem behind all of this, because Sean does have an issue with the baby being Tyler's. He's pissed.
And when he finds out, I didn't like that he shifted it to a direct text to Taya to say, well, I guess we know who the father is. That felt backhanded and shitty too, where then he's blaming Taya for this. You're in this situation as an adult, a participating member of a closed quad. This is all stuff that you signed up for, sir.
You were given information that is a standard set of vitals that are provided. And it's not like the doctor's office is concerned with blocking you from receiving information that may ruin your quad relationship. And also, I think it's a lot of pressure on the women that if they go to appointments or they are having discussions with the doctors about the baby, or whoever goes with them, because Tyler happened to be there on this visit too, that you then have to keep pieces of information quiet that may have also informed you of something that you didn't know.
Here's my other red flag part. Alysia didn't even know.
No one told her.
Until much later in the day, after a family event that we get to see. Nice little family gathering, a dodgeball.
No, we're just going to let this fester. Everyone's just going to act strange towards each other.
And she knows something's up, at least. So she has an idea. But then to go talk to Taya.
When Sean's pelting Tyler with dodgeballs and then removing himself from the situation to leave early, it's pretty obvious that there was something going on.
Yeah, but then she's asking him and he's telling her, no, everything's fine. And yeah, they're doing great because I'm watching the kids over here.
He's a man baby.
It's a man baby thing. He's not being honest. He's not approachable. He's not upfront and forthcoming with anything. And then also what I didn't like to see was that he kind of shifted it to like a hypervigilance focus or control over kids, because then he went back to the back and was watching the younger kids play.
I've got to take them for bedtime.
Supervising play, and then now, I have to get strictly into this regimented thing because it's bedtime. We have to get them home. So he kind of locked in on some of those control things because this is something that he can't control. So now he's going to go to these other things that he can and go double down on that.
Don't you think it was extra strange that they have had 2 other babies in this family as a quad, and that he's still this upset over the discovery that the baby's not his?
So were the other blood types more open-ended? It was inconclusive? He wasn't able to get a definitive result from that?
My assumption here, this is what I'm going with, is that, so they got snipped. There's no more opportunity for any more babies. I think he's pissed that he has realized he has 0 biological children with Taya.
Well, I don't think they know for a fact the biology of the other 2 kids, but I mean, if we're going off the Maury rules, we're pretty close as far as between Braxton and Hicks, whose is whose. I think we have a pretty good idea.
The one looks just like Sean and the other one looks like Tyler.
That's what I'm saying. So between those and like a mix of the bio mom that originated them as well. So maybe it is that disconnect, and then that is only complicating things further when we're talking about not if this falls apart, but when this family splits up. How the hell do you come up with a custody arrangement for this?
Yeah, so now we have Tyler and Alysia. They have their 2 older children. And then Alysia appears to have Braxton with Sean. The baby looks like Sean. And then on the other side of it, Taya has 2 boys, and they both appear to be fathered by Tyler. So how do you separate this? The cauldron of cum has created a real problem.
Jizzfest is out of control. And then there's all these other connections too, or like the legal and custody claim that everyone's trying to have. Then that becomes like a source of contention as well, because, if I'm not the bio dad and I don't have legal claim in a lot of ways, there's just this other element that's, if it's like a control thing or if it's just a power dynamic.
I would be worried if I were Tyler, because they have put Sean on the birth certificate of both of the other babies, yet those babies are biologically his.
So now that gets really confusing. So unless you're going to have some sort of other legal document that drafts this up that says this is all the things that we're agreeing to ahead of time, so then that way if anything happens, you already have structures in place for what that looks like, but there's no way that they're doing any of that. None of that has been part of the discussion. There is no legal documentation for any of these agreements or arrangements that are
Not
happening.
that they've talked about so far.
Absolutely not.
That's kind of part of the problem in a lot of these poly relationships that we see on TLC is that they come up with solutions as they face problems. And sometimes that's not the best way to deal with something because there's a lot of emotion in the moment, or they're just trying to put a Band-Aid on something so that they can move past it quickly. But you can't really anticipate the problems that could occur in the future. You're going to have to be able to react quickly to them in some instances.
Well, dealing with things as they come up, that would be great. But clearly on display in this episode, they are not dealing with things as they come up.
Because this is like the compiling of issues between Tyler and Sean, that they already have problems with one another as far as parenting goes. And now it's paternity that is another issue. It's all related to parenting.
And the jealousy and insecurity of the adults in the family.
Man, I'm really concerned that these children are being subjected to something that is there's going to be irreparable harm because the adults within this relationship are not all emotionally stable. There is a lot of immaturity in what we're seeing from Sean.
Well, the fact that, Alysia was talking with Taya and finally got to understand why Sean was so upset. But then she's telling us too, oh yeah, I usually don't hear from Sean what's wrong with Sean. I have to hear it from other people in the quad. That's not good. Why does he tell other people, but he doesn't tell you?
I kind of feel like this goes back to Alysia feeling like she wants to have more of a bond with baby Q, is because I think she's on the outside of this in a lot of ways. I think it's a triangle, a triad between Tyler, Taya, and Sean, and that she's just kind of like around. She exists
like
within
Sean, it feels like Sean's on the outside of that too, and he settles with her,
He's
but then he doesn't.
forcing himself into the triangle. Like Taya continues to communicate more closely with Sean, though. She's the one who knows what's going on with him. She's the only person that he will confide in. And then sometimes Taya will then say things to Tyler about whatever Sean told her. And then that's eventually how it gets to Alysia.
So should Sean be in solitary when he gets home because he was lying about his feelings?
Yes, and I think he had poor behavior at CrossFit. So we're going to need to send you to your room. Nobody's going to speak to you for a couple of days.
I mean, he was kicking ass in kickball. It was dodgeball. I think Tyler was taking it easy on him. I think Tyler could have. You don't think so?
I think there's a lot of anger behind what Sean was doing there.
Yeah, but anger doesn't always equate to
athletic ability,
athletic success. Yeah, in that way, unless you're doing like
He's
Olympic weightlifting.
He's fueled by rage, man. What do you think about Tyler, though? Because he played really coy in a lot of the interviews where they were talking about the blood type text. And I don't know that I fully believe that he had no idea that that would be problematic for Sean. I'm starting to wonder if he's a little passive aggressive.
Well, I think that's where it kind of delineates, where it's if it was an intentional sharing of information as a fuck you to Sean, then that's messed up and that's on Tyler. That's Tyler's fault. At the same time, Sean did look into it a little bit further than he probably should have if they were all agreeing to say, we don't want to know the biology of the children.
They're not all scientists. Not everybody was going to come to that conclusion. Clearly, even Sean didn't have that information. He had to Google it. He's in there asking ChatGPT to figure out blood type combos. And it said, you are not the father.
Yeah, can you deliver it to me in a Maury format, though? ChatGPT, you are now Maury GPT. Please give me the results.
There is no way that this family continues to operate this way unless they go get some serious therapy and talk through what seems to be years of resentment that have been building up. And even then, I'm not positive that they'll be able to make it through.
Well, they can't go to therapy because a therapist will just tell them your problem is polygamy or polyamory.
Did you have to laugh at them interviewing the person who owned the baby store, just like they do on Sister Wives?
You could tell, yeah, the production crossover was there because we've had multiple instances of interviews of people seeing their reactions when there is no reaction.
And yet again, the answer is, I don't give a shit.
It's always been the answer. Most people don't care.
Probably wouldn't choose it for myself, but otherwise I really don't care.
And the shop owner's like, it's good for business. It's 2 more parents to come in to buy stuff.
Have more babies, guys.
Sure, knock it out.
I got more clothes to sell to you. Next episode, while in Portland for Taya's birthday, the quad gets wild in a hot tub. Taya confesses that she's interested in a connection with another woman, and Sean and Tyler come face to face about their son's paternity. It's going to be a good one. We're forcing them to have conversations, and I'm guessing that's where things fall apart.
Might have some surprises along the way, too, so stay tuned for that.
Also, if you guys are enjoying the episode, we have Gypsy recaps for you. Gypsy Rose Blanchard.
Life After Lockup, Gypsy Rose.
Those are also dropping on Surviving Reality. And we have a Patreon where you can get hundreds of hours of bonus content of us talking about a lot of reality TV shit shows. Seeking Sister Wife, 90 Day Fiancé,
Married at First
Teen
Sight.
Mom, Married at First Sight. You name it, we've got it.
Check the show notes, the episode description for the links for everywhere you can find that.
Thanks for listening. See you next time.